What's up, ProGuides family, and welcome back to another video. My name is Nathan Ng, and today we'll be discussing 8 mentalities that you must avoid when playing Counter-Strike. In Counter-Strike, there's a lot of good and a lot of, well, less good, sometimes even harmful mentalities. In this video, we like to go over a few of them so you can make sure to avoid them. Having a bad attitude can and most definitely will lose you games, so if you at all recognize yourself having one of these mentalities, make sure you could try to avoid them and you could work on it. Before we get into it though, it is time for our question of the day. Today we love to ask, what is the best part that you bring to your team? Personally, I'd have to say my positivity. Ever since I really took the time to work on my attitude, I've been seeing a big improvement in my ability to win games. Before, whenever there were 1 or 2 toxic people on the team, it would essentially turn it into an instant loss. Nowadays though, I'm able to carry my teammates mentally, even when we're losing, which feels really great. But what about you though? What's the best quality that you bring to your team? Make sure to let us know in the comments down below. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started on our tips. The first and probably the most common mentality is that you are losing because of your teammates. This habit is actually surprisingly common and unsurprisingly unhelpful. Thinking that the only reason you're losing because of your teammates is unproductive and not only results in you becoming toxic, but also makes sure that you stop improving. If you think that your teammates are truly the ones holding you back, it makes sense that that aggravates you, but at the same time, I can guarantee you that it's not actually the case, and if you do snap at them, you'll be playing much worse, and so will they. Whenever there's a toxic teammate, whether that's you or someone else, focusing on the game becomes a lot harder, and eventually it becomes a game of who has the snarkiest banter rather than how you're going to be ending up winning the round. Even when it doesn't result in that and people get silent instead, losing comps isn't exactly what you want either. Besides the tilting aspect though, you can always have the excuse for your own performance, namely your bad teammates. Which means that you won't really be seeing what's going on and what you actually have to work on. Even when you are the top fragger, that doesn't really mean that you played a flawless game, and oftentimes that is far from it. So go ahead, fix your mistakes and work on your mechanics. The second mentality that's also detrimental to everyone's well-being and chances of winning games is thinking that you know the best play for every situation. Basically being a know-it-all of the team. We all know that you hate the know-it-all and he's not in every game, but when he is, you'll be sure to have your very own personal micromanaging in-game leader. Admittedly, oftentimes he'll be wrong and won't actually have a clue of what he's talking about. Seriously though, if you're one of those people that are always telling people how to play, even when you're dead yourself, you need to stop. Not only is it super annoying to have to listen to while you're trying to focus on the game, but it actually makes people want to mute you as well. You also don't know what the skill sets or plan of the player you're watching is. Maybe he has some information that you don't have, or maybe his aim isn't a strong point. Whatever the reason might be, the guy is going to be playing his clutch how he thinks it's best to play it, and that should be the only way. Of course, what we're not saying is to stop making plays, but make sure you just don't micromanage. Leading from the dead is where we really draw the line. Unless you're playing with friends and they ask for your help, don't really go into the game as an IGL. Chances are that each individual player already knows what they're doing best, and you aren't really helping them by forcing them to do things that they're not comfortable with. People that do backseat game often mean the best for the team, and we realize that. But if you're one of those players, you have to probably catch yourself on it and realize that you really aren't helping your team. Another truly awful mentality to have, and one that you should probably completely avoid, is thinking that the game is lost already anyway. Thinking the game is already lost is a surefire way to make sure that the game is lost. We all know the GG heroes, the ones that already give up on a game halfway through the first pistol round. Giving up on a game when the score isn't on 16 yet is not only a sign of weakness, but it also means that your chances of coming back has just become way more abysmal. The only reason you can't come back is because the people start giving up. Just now before I started working on this video, I lost a game where I was initially 9-0 up. In fact, I ended up losing that game 16-11. Well, that's simple. We basically thought it was a guaranteed win, so we started making stupid mistakes, and my opponents did not give up and then punish us for it. Before we knew it, we had lost multiple rounds in a row, and we were the ones having to come back. Of course, you won't be succeeding in every comeback, and there will be times where you're just gonna end up losing. But just because you're down 9, 10, 11, hell, even 14, doesn't mean that you've lost the game. Because however unlikely it may be, you can always come back. You could also use these rounds as a way to practice your mechanics, practice your aim, and really work on things without really the consequence and worry of losing the game. The next and honestly slightly humorous mentality that a good amount of people have is that people that are better than you are cheating. Having confidence is really good, and a lot of times it's even essential. But there is a line, and that line gets crossed as soon as you start thinking that anyone who's even slightly better than you or attempts to be close to your level is using some kind of third-party assistance. Sometimes you do have to play against cheaters, and that really sucks, but those are way more blatantly obvious. But catch yourself on this: if every game that you play just so happens to have cheaters, maybe you're not unlucky, but also a little bit superstitious. A lot of players like to falsely accuse others of cheating when they get a nice shot or have a good round. The reason that this is so bad, as you guys would have guessed, is that you already rule yourself out. If someone is truly cheating, there's of course no way you can outsmart or outplay them. So if you think that they're cheating, then you probably won't be playing well, or you would just be making excuses and not improve. What we'd advise you trying to do instead of accusing someone of cheating is maybe just think that they had a good round or they just got a really good shot. If it's not just one round, but instead multiple, then, well, they're probably a good player and it's okay to respect that. That way, killing them will be way more rewarding, and then that way you can keep your confidence up and realize that it's not you. Sometimes losing in this game is not because of you, but rather the enemy is just really good. Try not to report them either, because you should try to watch the demo after and make sure that you figured out that they're cheating or not. Trust me, usually you'll be wrong. Something else that will ruin you and your team's chance of winning the game is thinking that you're going 1v9. Playing 1v9 is often joked about by many confident players, and they feel like they can easily solo carry games. Often these players are indeed quite good, but that doesn't really mean that his mentality is as well. Thinking you're playing a 1v9 is pretty much detrimental to your decision making, as in your mind it bends which team is in favor to win the round. If you manage to run out A and kill 2, putting your team in a 5v3 situation, you should stop right there. Your team is already in a favorable position, and there's no reason for any more aggression. Instead, you should try to let your opponents just save or attempt to make a really good play. In the eyes of a 1v9 player though, it's not a favorable position. After all, to this player, it's not just a 5v3 but a 1v3. So way more aggression to this player is being justified by their mentality. Playing a 1v9 is a funny joke, but please just keep it as a joke. If you're having a really good game, then it definitely could be used as a joke, but don't actually start to believe in it. If you do, you'll make mistakes and lose your team rounds that should have been easily won. Another mindset that similar people to the previous one suffer from is thinking that they don't have to play smart, but they'll just be able to headshot everybody. Sure, having good mechanics is a really important part of the game, but having good macro play is important as well. Not playing smart but instead just running around and headshotting everyone feels so great when it works, and if you have a good aim, then you'll probably get away with it. But just remember, there's always a bigger fish. No matter how good you think your aim might be, sooner or later it's going to stop working as you rank up. People in the higher ranks have that good aim as well as good decision making. Statistically, the chance that you are the best aimer that CSGO has ever seen is very low. Therefore, you shouldn't act like that's the case. It's better to learn to play smart early so you don't have to break bad habits when you are in the higher levels. Sure, your aim might be able to carry you far, maybe even to global, but at some point it's just going to end and you're going to have to develop the ability to play smart anyway. Something else that will keep you running straight into the wall is thinking that your play wasn't bad or poorly executed, but instead your opponent just got lucky. First, we'd like to quickly say that indeed sometimes your opponents just do get lucky. But if you want to try to do the same thing over and over again and your opponent keeps getting quote unquote lucky, we hate to break it to you, but your play is just bad, so maybe stop doing it. I've lost countless games because that one teammate just kept trying to walk out A-ramp on Mirage over and over again because they were so darn stubborn, even though it only really worked that one time 12 games back. But nevertheless, my teammate is 100% sure that every time he tries it again the next round, he will suddenly surprise his opponent, even though that's never actually the case. We all have our plays that we love to do, and sometimes they work out great, but if one game they don't and your opponent keeps countering you, maybe it's best to give up on doing that exact same thing, and instead try doing something else. For our last mentality, and one of the most detrimental ones, it's gonna be I already know how to. If you have this mentality, there's probably a good chance that you're not going to be improving further anyway, and well, I already know how to ... It's a very negative statement. Lots of players feel like they already know how to do a certain skill. Maybe they already know how to play on Mirage, maybe they already know how to op. Whatever you think it might be, please give it a rethink. Do you think Simple believes that he already knows how to op? Or Zywoo or Device? If you honestly do, why do you think that they still show up to practice, and why do you think that they still practice their fundamentals every single day? You're not better than any of those three players, and that's honestly okay. But if you want to get to their level, eventually you have to be able to admit that you could be wrong and that there is something that you can learn. Thinking that you're perfect and believing that you already know how to do something like opping only makes you look foolish and will prevent you from ever getting to a higher level. Well guys, that's going to be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're at it, don't forget to head over to ProGuides.com where we'll be able to give you guys great coaching for anything that you might need help with so that you can unlock your full potential. As well as the one and only Simples Master course that definitely covers a ton of topics to help you guys improve. With that, I wish you guys a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and peace.